Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the January meeting of the Planning Commission. Today is January the 31st. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Next will be the approval of the minutes. Are there any changes, corrections to the minutes of our November meeting? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Roxanne, I would move to approve them and accept them as presented.
It's been moved and seconded by Scott. All those in favor, please raise your hand so I can see your hand. Okay, good. Those are approved. At this time, I don't know if there's anyone on the call that would like to make comments for anything that's not on the agenda. If you do want to make a comment, please raise your hand so John can let you in to make the comment. If there are none, we will continue on. I'll give it a couple minutes. Anybody, John?
Currently, nobody has raised their hand.
Okay.
I do have Leslie Dickinson coming in here.
Okay. Well, she'll come right. She'll be coming in at a good time. All right. Awesome.
Sorry, I couldn't get in.
All right. And next item is to hear from our Carroll and Frederick County planners. First, we'll hear from Hannah. Hannah, welcome. There
Good
she
evening,
is.
everybody. Long time no see. I hope everybody had a good holiday. It's been since before then I last got to see you guys. Just some quick updates. Last time we talked, the residential text was going through the Planning Commission. Since then, it has been approved by the county commissioners and it was officially adopted on December 16th. Next, we have the spring amendment. We're taking applications for that through the month of February, if anybody is interested. And then the annual report, which we go through every year. The report is due to MDP by July 1st, and we are hoping to get all of the certification letters from the municipalities by March 11th. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Hannah, sorry, just a quick question. What is the spring amendment you mentioned?
It's for the water and sewer master plan. There's 2 updates every year on the fall and then in the spring. And this is just the spring cycle.
Okay.
What's the deadline for that, Hannah?
We're taking applications through the month of February.
Okay, well, thank you, Hannah. I hope that by February, we'll be able to see you live.
Fingers crossed.
That's right. Next, we'll hear from Tim Goodfellow. Tim, you're there of Frederick County.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair and Planning Commission members. I do have a report that I'd like to share this evening, so I'll do a screen share. I know it was distributed to you late by me this afternoon, so let me do the screen share and bring this up. Okay, is that clear for everybody? Is that visible on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so just I'll go over a few things that are in this memo that was prepared. So the first thing is the Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan. We continue to work on that. We've had our 6th work session with our Planning Commission. That'll continue in February. We hope to have 3 workshops with the Planning Commission in February, so it's aggressively moving. toward the Planning Commission's recommended plan, which we do then have to send to the state for the required 60-day review. Then that'll be followed by the Planning Commission's public hearing. Then it'll be transmitted to the council. So there's still a long way to go for the Sugarloaf plan, and I will give the Planning Commission an update if you'd like a formal presentation on this once the Planning Commission finishes their work. We're also working on the South Frederick Corridors plan. I've mentioned that briefly. The staff draft, initial draft is completed. We're kind of waiting for a little bit further before we introduce and start all the work sessions with the Planning Commission on the South Frederick Corridors plan. We are updating the Land Preservation Parks and Recreation Plan. That's a requirement by the state that all counties do that. So we're doing that, updating the 2006 LPPRP. And I just put in some information there about the Historic Preservation Program. We have an intern now helping our staff planner, Amanda Whitmore. And actually there's a position going to be open for another historic preservation planner in Frederick County. So some interesting stuff going on there. A lot of work going on. That's why we need, we're getting additional staff. And this is this is the historic property on Old National Pike, just leaving the city of Frederick, heading toward Middletown. If this gets approved tomorrow night by the council, this will be the 21st property on the county register of historic places. Some development review items. There's this is part of the Linganore Town Center that we've looked at before. This is a subdivision plan for 9 or 8 employment or commercial lots. This is adjacent to the Oakdale Elementary and Oakdale Middle Schools at Meadow Road and 144, right by Interstate 70. That goes to the Planning Commission next month. And then I included just some, that title there is not right. Just some highlights from what the county council has done. We have our priorities letter, we call it, that we send to the state that identifies county projects and then projects we would like to see in the state's consolidated transportation program. And that's there, the links are there. There's a bill introduced to address essentially design standards for future data centers. It's the critical digital infrastructure proposal. It's establishing this new use in our industrial districts. There's already been a subdivision plan approved in December for 29 lots at the old East Alco facility near Adamstown. Just creating the lots. They've not yet been recorded, just have been given preliminary approval by the Planning Commission. So that bill establishes the use and creates design standards like berms, berming and landscaping and things like that, and creates an architectural review committee actually for these types of uses. And then just last year, the county included established an equity and inclusion office just to address some diversity needs in the community. It's kind of interesting. This is an image of the area covered by the South Frederick Corridors plan. Here's 270 kind of bisecting that. And then it goes all the way down to, almost to Buckystown, past the industrial areas on Route 85 in Frederick, then all the way up to, bordering the city of Frederick here, generally around Interstate 70. And then this is another thing I mentioned several months ago, the first rural historic district that's being contemplated in Frederick. This is near Mount Airy, just kind of northeast of the town of Newmarket, along Jesse Smith Road, east of Route 75, Old Annapolis there, and some information about some of the historic properties. And I also included, and I think this may have been distributed to the Planning Commission members last fall, just a summary of the census data, the 2020 census data. We've done this for all the municipalities in the county. So it gives you a good comparison between 2010 and 2020 in your town, and then as the county as a whole. So that's in your packet. And then finally, the last thing I'll mention is the Sugarloaf plan. Our planning commission recently voted to expand the study area or expand the planning area that's covered under the Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan. The image there, the original boundary or study area is outlined in red, but the planning commission has recommended changes, alterations to that boundary to follow 270 from the Montgomery County line all the way north to the Monocacy River. Now, this area is part of the Monocacy battlefield, and it follows the Monocacy River generally on the west-hand side down to the Potomac River as well. So that's a very recent addition that the Planning Commission has made. So we have lots of revisions to do to the draft plan to address this additional 1,900 acres that have been added to the Sugarloaf area. So we're quite busy in the planning department, but that's a quick report, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions and then bring back the a formal presentation if you'd like to hear it on the Sugarloaf plan once the Planning Commission creates their recommended plan and once it's out for a 60-day review.
I've got a question, Tim. I don't know if you can answer it for me right now, but the data centers, that zone that you're creating, what's the anticipated water use of one of those data centers? Do you have that, or is that, can you give me a figure on that?
Well, no, that's a very good question, and that's been raised many times. Well, first of all, the use has been determined already to be a permitted use in our industrial zones. So that bill that I mentioned is just establishing the Architectural Review Committee and some other design standards for the physical development of the buildings. Yeah, they are, huge water users, huge electricity users. So they, at the subdivision stage, that wasn't, it's not required to be fully evaluated. That'll be evaluated, and highly scrutinized once the site plan comes in for construction of an actual building. But, they've had a water and sewage plan amendment recently too for that use in that East Alco area. But they are proposing to either use treated effluent, wastewater, or just have additional water from the county's Potomac River source. So it remains to be seen, remains to be determined, until we get our first site plan in on one of those 29 lots. So it'll be the combination of, Madam Chair, either reclaimed or recycled wastewater.
Okay.
That's probably more the longer term, but in the shorter term, immediate term is probably just additional water use from the county's main supply.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see what they come in as their estimate of water use.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of those in Loudoun County.
Yes.
Lots and lots of data centers.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for that update. And yeah, I think we would like, once the Sugarloaf is completed, we'd like to have you come back and talk about that.
Okay, very good.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Tim.
next, any other questions? I'm sorry. Next, we're going into our site plan and subdivision amended plans. The first one we're talking about is S20-0032 Twin Ridge Professional Park, Lot 7A. This is the concept site development for the mini storage. And I know that we have someone here to represent them. I think it's Ron.
Roxanne.
Yes?
I did see Carl raise his hand when you asked if there's anybody
Oh, I'm
else got any
sorry.
other questions. I
Now,
want to make sure if you had a question for Tim, I'm not sure.
I had a question from Tim regarding I saw in the Frederick News Post about, I believe it was the county going to institute or trying to pass a law requiring vehicle charging infrastructure in all new buildings, but I'll catch with them.
Hey, there he is. He can answer it.
Yeah, I'd have to come back with an answer to that, council member. I'm not exactly sure of the exact status of that bill at this point, but if you could send me an email, I'd be happy to get all that information for you.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Roxanne.
You're
Madam
welcome.
Chair.
So the first, there's there's a professional park lot 7A, and then we have lot 18A, a concept site and an amended plat. So we're gonna work on 7A first. So we do have a representative here. Ron, if you would like to go through this with us, and John, keep your eye. I think there are some people that are going to want to comment on this.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the November Planning Commission meeting, we were tasked with a number of items that the council, or that the Planning Commission wished for us to come back with further clarification. To begin with, Lot 7A will be a self-storage facility, a secure self-storage facility operated by CubeSmart, extending all the way between Rising Ridge Road to Parkside Drive there. Now, what we were asked to look at, and if you'd like, I can bring it up in screen share, is first of all, was to revise the building eye architecture of the building along Parkside Drive to be more of a transition to the residential neighborhood. And the architect has provided a building design that has split face block, gray split face block along the back and sides of the building. So it looks more in character with the rest of the industrial development there. It's
Can
not
you
just
share
a,
that screen, Ron? Can you share that?
yes.
Roxanne, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
There we
Yeah,
go.
The elevation, yeah.
There we go.
That looks a lot better than what you had previously submitted.
Right.
Well, you didn't submit an elevation for that side of it.
Okay.
I think we had it kind of, it was a standard low-story building throughout the development, which would have been the standard metal type siding. This one has the block fascia on the sides and the rear facing the street.
Okay, so that back elevation number 3 is what faces the street?
Back elevation number
Number
one
one. I'm sorry,
faces
number
the
1.
street.
Okay,
And on the sides, if you're driving up the street, you would see the typical side elevation until you
Okay.
were opposite the building.
all right.
In addition, we were asked to define more clearly how the gate at Parkside Drive operates. And the gate is for emergency services only, and we'll have a fire department approved Knox box on it for them to access the site in that direction. It will not be open to the public, will not be open to maintenance, only for emergency purposes. Third question was, will there be outdoor security cameras throughout the complex? And that answer is yes, security cameras will be mounted throughout the site. And the fourth question asked was to define the operation for the self-storage site. The self-storage office in building A up here off of Rising Ridge Road will be staffed Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. Customers who have rented facilities, storage units within the complex, will have access to the storage spaces via secured keypad entry point into this building or the gate here to any of the other buildings from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. each day. After that, there is no access until the following morning. So there is no 24-hour operation or access to the site.
When did you say again the office was open? Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday from
Or staff.
9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And Saturday is 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay, how about Sundays, Ron? Are they
They're
open or
closed.
That's closed.
They're closed, so the only access at that point, Carl, would be if you have a storage unit,
Gotcha.
you'd have to have an access code in which to either access the building for your unit inside this building or for the gate to move into the interior to another building.
Okay. And you mentioned that the keypads are only good from 6 A to 10 P, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I know this is probably impossible, but does each person have their own code for the keypad?
My experience is, I believe that's, well, I can't say whether that's correct or not, quite frankly. You may have a separate keypad to go into the main building if you have units in there, and you probably have a code to get through the gate if you have other.
Okay.
And then they have, from what I've experienced in the past, staff will have their own code so they can monitor who's moving in and out of the site. Plus you have security cameras.
Okay, thank you.
And that code might be randomly generated every 6 months, a new code, possibly, who knows?
Possibly. I'm sure that there is a system that when people stop renting, codes are rendered inactive, switched. It could be that.
I think everybody has their own code.
Yeah, it could be everybody has their own code.
So, and that's nice too, because then you can monitor who's coming in and out if everybody has their individual code, to say, okay, well, this person clearly is showing up at 10 p.m. and spending the night there or something, or whatever,
Correct.
So my question is, and this was somebody brought it up in the comment thing, is can you go back to the rear elevation? I didn't see any wall packs or anything like that on the back side of the building there. Are you going to be providing any kind of lighting on the rear side of that building? Or
We were not proposing any lighting. Any lighting would be basically within a few feet of the building itself.
right,
There.
like site lighting?
This is we have to do the setback from the edge of the property. So we're probably close to 50 feet from the street
Right.
to the back side of the building.
I mean, I see the wall packs on the front elevation. I didn't
Yes.
see on the back. I was just sort of wanting to comment to their question in the chat box.
There's another question also. Is the gate on Parkridge Drive required by law? Could a second emergency entrance be added to Rising Ridge?
There isn't the ability to have a second emergency access from Rising Ridge Road. You have the railroad here, significant grade change, and this is the primary gate for people coming in and out. The
They would probably still have
secondary-
access. I was gonna say
Pardon?
that- I would think that they would have an access code to get through that front gate. If the fire is at building A, they're not going to come in to building I to get to building A.
Correct. Correct. But in the back gate, there is no gate on Parkside Drive. The gate is actually part of a shared driveway with lot, I think that's lot 6 up there. So the gate actually sits right in here off of that shared access drive. So you
Okay.
would not see a gate primarily as you're driving up and down the street.
Okay. Are there any questions from the commission members at this time?
Hey, Roxanne, I got one question here for Ron. Did the owners ever mention if the police department will have a code to do random spot checks into the facility when it's closed or anything? Or would they be open to giving the police a code to just like drive through every once in a while?
I
Hey,
do
Ron, you
not
need to-
know. Something I can find out for a final site plan.
Yeah, I've read
Yeah,
about it.
I don't quite frankly know.
Okay, no, that's fair. I was reading about it online about some of the concerns of just thought I would mention it and see. Thank you.
Anyone else?
We've got one question in the chat.
I know, I'm getting
Oh, sorry,
to,
Roxanne.
thank you.
I just had a quick question about the note on page 5 about the clarification of the stormwater management pond. Has that question been answered?
We're gonna get to that,
Okay.
Martina. I'm gonna throw that to Tom. I want to get to this question first. So,
Okay.
Ron, is there a plan to put shrubs along the Parkridge to cover the appearance from, as you enter the Twin Ridge neighborhood? Is there gonna be some sort of buffer there? I don't see.
We did not plan any buffer. It wasn't required per the landscaping code. We have street trees along Parkridge Drive. Then you get into, somebody may say, well, that's a security issue for shrubs outside of the complex where people potentially could have a party or hide.
Right, and they could hide there and wait till the gate open if it was, even if it
Yes.
was in a rush. Okay, I understand. Okay. Thank you.
That's one of the reasons we went with the brick facade. So it looked more of a finished building.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Ron?
No, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna address the question Martina had, because we were asking, the reason this came back was the ownership of the storm management pond. And Tom, have you found anything out, or have we come to a resolution on that?
No, we have not come to a resolution on that. I expect to have in the very near future, meaning in days, a letter addressing the town's position on this to Ron and the developer. So that's where we are right now. And consequently, I think the town's position should be that the condition should remain for now, and until I complete that letter and get it to the developer and Ron.
Okay. Keeping in mind, this is the concept plan. There are multiple times when they will come back with this plan. The one thing I would also like to see, and John, maybe you can help me out with this. The APFO for the roads and traffic is still pending. Everything else is adequate. And it says it's currently under review. Do we know when that will be completed?
So I'll have to get with Ron. I think with the, for this use on 7A, for the peak hours, are not going to meet the need for a traffic impact study. I don't know, Ron, if you have any numbers that you can possibly forward to me related to that, or give the information for that. I think with the type of use is the lowest use we could have for that industrial parcel. But if you have any numbers, that would be beneficial.
We have it on the title sheet using ITE code. Maximum trips are 25, spread throughout essentially two lots. And you are correct. It is the least amount of traffic and industrial use would generate during the peak hour.
So 25 peak hour trips, that really is under our discretion if we want a traffic impact study. Is that correct?
I think it's at the threshold. Have to look and see. I don't know. I know the traffic's what was done for the industrial park, but it's right at that. Generally, it's 25 and less. But it's down.
So Roxanne, I'm willing to, amend the staff report to say that it will meet the traffic impact study for the APFO. Because again, it's minimal use, and really the peak hours, with the way that they have restricted timelines for access, I don't think that's going to be a big issue.
I would kind of like to see, other than what's on what Ron has, I would kind of like to see a letter, I guess, from Saab or somebody stating that, just so that it goes in the file.
Okay.
I don't know about everybody else, but that's how I feel. All right.
I can get
I'd
a
agree
consultant on that.
with that.
Okay, yeah. And it can be just 1 or 2 sentences. I just want it written otherwise in the file, like on town letterhead. I mean, just so that it's in the file. All right, are there anything else? Any other questions, concerns?
Just had one more, Roxanne. I'm thinking,
Okay.
Madam Chair, sorry.
That's okay.
I think I brought up during the November meeting, would the owners be interested in putting 1 or 2 street lights along Parkridge Drive behind the building, or would that help or hurt them?
I can answer that. If we were not interested, if there's a safety concern now, then that would be the responsibility of the town to resolve. We are not adding or doing anything that would degrade the safety of the roadway or the sidewalk area.
Okay, how do you mean safety, like too bright for people driving down the road at night, or?
No, the town has road development standards and street lighting for it. We're not, if the town were to make a determination today that it's an unsafe condition for people to walk,
Oh, okay.
then then the town would have that responsibility to correct it immediately. We do not see that we're causing any safety concerns by the development on this lot.
Gotcha. No, thank you, Ron, for the clarification. That helps me. Thank you.
I also want the council members, everyone got a copy of the letter. It was from the Andrew and Ashley Malott. They also spoke at the other meeting, but I just want to make sure that was in your packet as well.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions, any other concerns. The staff has recommended approval of the concept site plan. Is there a motion?
Roxanne, do we want to see, somebody has raised their hand.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you gonna let them in?
Yeah, I am. I've just
Okay.
unmuted them.
Oh, I see.
Steve, you're on.
Okay,
Hi, how are you?
good.
Yeah, if I could just speak again. I spoke at the last meeting as well. First of all, as a neighbor to this, I hope the site isn't approved, the plan. But if so, I think it should be known that Mount Airy will have the honor of being the only town in Maryland to approve a CubeSmart this close to a residential housing. I believe it's about 400 some feet right now from the residential neighborhood. The only other CubeSmart that even comes close is one that's 700 some odd feet, and it's separated by a highway and fencing. So I don't know what the reason is why we have to have one so close to our neighborhood when no other CubeSmart in Maryland is that way. They're all in different types of neighborhoods. Secondly, the second exit that was discussed was just for fire rescue. I still don't know why we need that. If you do put the second exit in, it will take away from the trees that are there. I if fire rescue is not requiring it, I don't know why they can't just use the front gate with a Knox key. Considering that Twin Ridge Elementary right up the street only has one entrance. And I would think if anyone requires it, an elementary school, not a CubeSmart. The other thing I noticed was the coloring for the stone. I don't know if the planning commission is okay. It looks cheap. It looks like cedar. It just looks like cedar block. It's gray. I know the other office park nearby has more earth tones. I don't know if that was being considered, but that would blend a lot more into the landscaping of the neighborhood than cedar block. And I don't know if it's been discussed yet, but there's been no talk of fencing and what type of fencing would be put in around, including on Parkridge and Rising Ridge. And I mean, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. There's someone else that just asked a question. Okay, they asked about the lighting on the back side of the building, and we had answered that no. Yeah,
So it
what
says,
is the requirement? Is the fire department asking us to put that extra emergency gate in, or is that just because of the size of the length of the from getting from one place to the other? Ron, do you know?
I believe it may be a combination of, the fire department has not made the comment, but it may be that due to the length between the streets, that insurance may require a secondary access. And again, we have placed the gate so it is not facing Parkridge, Parkridge Road Drive.
Right. And also it does state in here that in the certificate of adequacy by the fire department will be addressed at the final plan. We have to remember here that this is a concept plan. It is not a final plan. Some of the things, Mr. Malley, that you ask about will be continued to be addressed. This is the first thing that we see, and then we go on to the next step and the next step. This is not the final plan of this. I understand your concern about the coloring. I don't know what they can do about that. That can be a comment later as well. Oh, here's the other question. What's the plan for the trash on the site? Because there already is trash in the woods. We've seen the most of these sites build up with trash, especially after an eviction.
Like building. Why would you put a center block?
Can somebody mute whoever is talking? Thank you.
Yep, I just muted Steve.
Thank you. We've seen the most of these sites build up with trash, especially after an eviction. These trash piles do attract rodents. Is there any, of course, this will go farther into the plan, but do you know, Ron, is there any plan as far as the trash is concerned now?
We have a large area for trash trucks in the front of the building A. That's an enclosed structure to take for people to dump their trash there.
Okay.
It would be right here at this location. Fairly large facility.
And Ron, can you talk to Steve's question? There is fencing around the whole property. It will be connecting up to building I on both corners and returning back to building A. Is that correct?
That is correct. There will be security fencing around the facility. The final site plan will actually detail the fencing or show the height and type of fencing around it, but it'll be a chain link fence.
And can you speak to the color rendering of is CubeSmart have a specific trademark color? Is gray and gray their color, or could it be more of a tan and brown? Is there any movement on that direction?
I believe their standard colors, looking at building A, was this gray and white
Right.
there. I
So
will
could it-
take the comment back to the architect and the developer. Can there be another color? along that
It may-
side.
Maybe with the white and the gray more than just gray and gray.
Mm-hmm.
Might look nice. A little cleaner, a little bit more white.
Okay,
And I guess I also wanted to comment on Steve's question about, this gate is going to remove existing trees. And that's a false statement. There's no trees that'll be lost by the installation of this access gate for fire rescue.
Okay,
Is that a question or a statement?
no. it's
That's a statement.
Okay. Roxanne, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
So if we're voting, even though it's a concept plan, if we're voting without Tom yet rendering his opinion on the pond, even though that would be, I'm sure, contingent, but last meeting, Tom indicated that if the town thinks differently than he and his client, that there would be legal action. So shouldn't we wait before we vote to find out what the town's position is on the pond?
Tom, can you answer that, please?
Well, since the condition to the approval will be that the developer bring the pond up to current standard, I don't think you need to delay the approval.
Vote?
I think you can approve the concept plan condition on their attention to the pond and proceed forward. Anyway, I think that answers it.
if I may, it's my understanding that the developer and the town will have to arrive at an agreed upon decision solution before we can proceed or present the plan back for final site plan approval.
Correct.
Right.
So by approving it at this point with the condition, this allows us to move forward into the next phase, which will take a little bit of time, both geotechnical testing on the site, additional testing, as well as the final site plan design.
Thank you.
And the color change could be part of that final approval as well.
Correct.
And the clarification on the APFO for the adequacy for traffic.
There's two comments here. I would like to remind the town council, I think she means planning, that the area is a grazing area for large groups of deer, groundhogs, fox, and lots of wildlife. And then the other question is, why allow a company into our town that has already threatened a lawsuit?
Well, on the latter, I've never said they've threatened a lawsuit. I'm not aware that they've threatened a lawsuit.
Okay.
Just saying that disagreements sometimes end up in lawsuits.
And it's not Cube Smart that we are talking about, correct, Tom? It's the
Correct.
owner of the
It's-
property.
That's correct.
And Roxanne, there's one more on the Q&A, if you didn't see it.
I haven't gotten the one, I'm waiting for everybody
Okay.
else to speak, but have you allowed all the Twin Ridge residents to speak who sent in comments or concerns? It doesn't seem like it. I asked, John, you can speak to this, please?
Yeah, nobody else has raised their hands. I never received any writings and comments addressing this issue or the concerns. Again, they did vocalize their concerns about this development at the November meeting. Again, this property is zoned industrial. It's been in zoned industrial. The property owner has a right to develop his property in an industrial design. This is the least industrial impact for this site. I don't know what else to say about that, but ultimately, nobody else is asked to raise their hand to speak. The concerns are being heard through the chats. I think we need to make a decision if we're going to allow them to move forward with a final plan presentation or review comments and addressing the comments and resolving the issue of the the ownership of the pond, I think is really the recommendation the planning staff has.
Right. Also a follow-up comment to that it should have never been industrial on the residential site. Leslie, can you speak to this? Because my recollection is that this was always in industrial, even in the 2013 master plan.
She said on the residential side.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm having
so like,
trouble.
yeah, so it's the side on Rising Ridge where it's more
Yeah.
industrial, and she's talking about the park. I don't recall this particular property from the last master plan, and that could be because it was industrial.
I think it's
Begin
been
with.
industrial
Yeah,
for a very long time.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't an issue that came up in the last master.
Right.
It has been industrial for a long, long time.
Yeah,
I mean-
Lindy's here, she knows.
Thank
Well,
you.
and-
Thank you, Lindy.
And that industrial park has been since
In
1989,
the
is
90s.
that, yeah, early 90s? It's been all
89 or
industrial.
something.
Yeah, 89, 90, it's been
And-
industrial, that whole area.
And there are 2 industrial properties north of this site. So this site does not border the residential. There are 2
Existing.
properties north, industrial
Correct.
properties that are developed.
And we have a couple other questions. Steve's point about proximity to the neighborhood. Steve's point about the proximity to the neighborhood. Are there any studies about impact property values? We do not do that. If there's someone with a real estate background that could speak to that, unless you can have empirical evidence that it's going to lower it in this market, I know the market will change, but I don't have the details or the information. Then the other question is, would you want this in your neighborhood? I guess he's asking the council members.
I have one in my neighborhood. It
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
bother me. I have
Yes.
one in my neighborhood and it doesn't affect me at all.
I just want to, if it was allowed, and seeing that I am on the planning commission, if it was allowed and looking at the everything that's there, if it can be on there, yes, whether you want it there or not. We're the arm that does the black and the white. We're following the code and what it says in the code. It goes, we have it's going to come back to us. There are conditions for the final plan. Mr. Thompson has heard some of your concerns. He's going to take them back. He's going to take those things back to the Cube Smart, and we will work through some of these. Some of these might not be able to work through as well as we want them to, but most definitely the one that is going to hold them from coming back is the letter from the clarification, the maintenance of the professional park stormwater management pond. I don't know if there's anything else.
No, I mean, this design meets the code, and I think we should make a motion here. We got to make a decision. So I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion, and if everybody's okay with that, to move forward at this point.
Well, I want to try, there are some other people.
Well, we can't just go through Facebook comment or Zoom comments all night, right?
Correct, but I still think that, it's, the one says, imagine seeing deer trapped in the fence yard trying to escape and being injured in the process.
Yeah.
Will there be construction traffic on Parkridge? That's. I'm sure there will be some. I can't, I don't know because I don't know. I've never seen one built, so I don't know how intense the construction traffic is going to be. When that builds something, yes, there's going to be construction traffic. I can't answer to the volume. All right, so you have moved, Scott, to approve.
Yeah, I have moved that the planning commission approve the concept site plan for lot 7A of the Twin Arch Professional Park, section 2, subject to that action item of clarification of ownership and maintenance of the Twin Ridge Professional Park, section 2, stormwater management pond number 4.
Would you also mind also putting in there that we would like a letter for the roads and traffic control that it put in the file as well? Scott, would you agree to put that in?
I agree with that, yes. I do concur with your statement earlier about that, sorry.
Is there a second to this? I'll second it.
Martina raised her hand.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't see her. Sorry, Martina. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to accept the approval of concept plan of site 7A with the following action plans: the clarification of ownership and maintenance of the Twin Ridge Professional Park, section 2, stormwater management pond, and that we will have a road and traffic control letter also typed up about the minimal traffic that will be, traffic trips that there will be. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, may I ask what the vote was? I, for some reason, didn't see that.
It was
unanimous.
actually, it was unanimous.
Unanimous? Thank you.
All right, the next one goes, can we combine the
Madam Chair,
last two? Yes, ma'am.
just a quick note. I've been asked not to vote tonight until I'm officially appointed.
Okay, yes.
So that was for Ron.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay.
So Roxanne, I just want to, can I just hit these two really quick? So again, we do have an amended plat that we had already seen previously at the concept plan, which is amended plat for section 2, 18A. I'm pretty sure it came to the planning commission before for combination. This is the final plan approval for that.
Okay.
That's why we have the site plan in first for concept plan approval. So I don't know if Ron wants to bring up his drawings and share his screen for that plan.
Can everybody see concept 18A?
Yes.
Concept is for 3 flex industrial buildings along 18A. The architecture, which I'll show you in a minute, is similar to the other architecture that you see as you drive into the industrial park, Rising Ridge Road. 3 buildings, potential along the back, which is the railroad service track down here. You could have some garage doors in the back, but along the front, you can see what the buildings look like from Rising Ridge Road. All very similar in architecture with the brick front along it and brick along the sides. You can see the rear where they would have service space. It really is a standard flex industrial development when you have a long linear piece of property. The residential neighborhood is on the eastern side of it, and we have doubled up the landscaping along that edge of it. in order to screen it from the residential neighborhood. Directly to the west of that is a microbial facility that will be landscaped. So the building itself is probably about 95 feet from the edge of the property. Development is not directly on the property line there. All of our services come off of Rising Ridge Road. One of the requirements from landscape design is that many of the trees are dying along the roadway. And that's why you see new trees being proposed to be replacing existing trees as part of the landscape plan. Landscaping along the rear. And you kind of shows modular, spaces within a building that can be leased out. Typical for flex industrial.
Mhm.
Hey, Ron, I have a question. I didn't think about this, but is this still an active railroad back here then? That doesn't go into our rails to trails, that's farther north, is that correct?
The rails to trail is a little farther north.
Okay,
This one, although I don't believe, can't say for sure, active, the only
Willard.
Willard is about the only one that has any delivery anymore there.
And that's really far to the far south of this property.
That is correct.
So I'm just wondering if there was ever, would they ever have the ability to potentially have rail access to this parcel? Possibly a spur that might come off if a tenant here is looking to put something in and have access to a rail car. They
The grades are really steep there.
Okay.
It would be almost impossible to
Okay,
get track up there.
just curious. I had an applicant requesting something like that, and I was just trying to see if this could have worked for it.
Does any of the council members have any questions?
Madam Chair, I do. I have a couple questions here for Ron. Here we go. Let me get my list. Sorry. On the rear of the building, the ones facing the railroad tracks, will there be lights on the back of them? I'm just concerned with if there's any residential far enough away, would the lights be? It didn't appear so because the rest of the elevations showed, like the can lights and stuff.
I believe there is, we're not showing at this point in time, but I would have to think there'll be some type of down lighting at the garage doors.
Okay.
And we have a lighting plan in the set, Carl, where the lights pattern is limited to the property line.
Okay, yeah, I gotta get with John and help me try and explain and read the lighting plans better. It looked like there's some post lights on there, but I couldn't find out from the lighting plan where on site the post lights would be.
I think all of our lighting is, let me double check, but I believe
I think they're in the islands. They're in the islands, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Okay, the
One
black
right
dots.
here, another one right here.
Okay, the black dots on the islands. Okay. I just couldn't discern from the, what was what on the plan.
Partially because this area right here is a microbial facility also.
Yeah, like, the stormwater retention pond is a small one, right?
Yeah, but not retention. It's bark mulch landscape where the water goes down into the stone. It doesn't
Gotcha.
sit there forever as a pond.
Gotcha. I've seen, yeah, I've noticed the drainage pipes under under the ponds or whatever, whatever the fancy name for those are.
Microbiomes, yes.
Yes, I saw those drain pipes. Also, the height on the trash bin receptacles in the back here. Those two, it says a max of 3 foot height. Is that real? Because most dumpsters are taller than that.
There is a retaining wall along the back side for a portion of it. So
Okay.
the wall itself is a maximum of 3 feet. Then above that would have to be the actual dumpster enclosure itself.
Like, so you want to be able to see the top of the dumpster from adjoining property or behind?
No, it's the standard, town standard here. I think
Okay.
it's 6, looks like it's 6 feet high there.
Okay, are you talking about the, okay, like the, whatever, the fencing above the walls per se?
That's correct.
Okay,
Like Ron's saying, there'll be a 3-foot retaining wall, and above that will be another 3-foot wooden wall if necessary.
Or 6 foot.
6 foot on top of the 3-foot
The
retaining.
3
wall.
foot's below grade,
Okay,
below the
below grade.
pavement.
And if you
Gotcha.
pan if you pan right on your sheet there, Ron, there's the lamp detail right there to the bottom right hand side
okay.
for Carl.
Yeah, I'll look at it some more, but okay. I just wanted to make sure. I thought, you know, if it's 3-foot height, that's kind of low
Yeah, no.
for that. Yeah, I've got some concerns, some other concerns I can bring up is more the approval process happening, that we're doing the site plan before the amended plat, but that's not within the scope of
And
this.
that's what I was saying, Carl, is the amended plat is the final amended plat. We've already seen this amended plat in the
Okay.
concept plan that was approved. This is the final amended plat being approved.
Okay,
Site
Gotcha.
plan is
okay,
running
never mind.
secondary to the concept. This is the final amendment. That's why it's in that order.
okay.
The
Gotcha.
amended plat is the final.
All right, cool. Thank you, John, for the clarification.
You're okay.
Okay, and the first comment on this, are residents of Twin Ridge looking at simultaneous construction activity on both access roads into our community from Route 144? Can the commission and town share the expected timeline for these 2 commercial projects? I have, I can't answer about the construction activity, and Ron, is there a timeline, kind of an estimate? I mean,
Well, once we get site plan approval and can get our grading permits for it, which includes a number of permits, then they would be filing for their building permits. What I will say is that we'll see the sites graded out, which will be work on the sites. There may be a little dirt, excess dirt brought from 7A over here, stabilized, and then an initial building going up. And they'll, as the market demand increases, is when they would plan to build additional space. They obviously would plan to have some vacant space so people don't go looking at another building somewhere else. But cost-wise, they're not going to build it all out at once. And right now we're at the ultimate high of building costs. And somebody telling me today they may delay a project a little bit because of building costs.
right, so it kind of is economically driven, as well as, it's not like, you're not gonna see all these buildings go up at one time. Like Ron said, I have no idea. I could say 2 years. I have no idea how long the permit process takes with the county and the different things. John, do you have any kind of idea?
Well, really, and like Ron's speaking of, it's really up to the owner developer. I mean, I would think that the Cube Smart would be probably more aggressive because they're a bigger company and they're buying both lots and developing that. This, I could see building A coming in, and if he has a lot of tenants, building B and C would be fast following if he has adequate tenants coming in to support it. My big question to that is, you know, before we approve any building A permit, we definitely want to have the Class A screening on the north side of the property installed prior to any building permit being pulled for this parcel, to make sure that gets established. Would be the only thing I would be making sure was being done at the permitting process. And I don't think that's an issue.
Okay, I have a couple things. One question is the 24/7, I think this goes more towards the CubeSmart, but I'm gonna read it anyway. The 24/7 operational facilities potentially attract high traffic near roadway or air pollution is already a matter to our Mount Airy air quality. Do they have a plan in place to mitigate the air pollution so they won't put our residents' health at risk? I don't think so. We haven't required anything of that. And then Mr. O'Malley says, I think he wants to know is it being considered access to Twin Ridge Elementary if construction on both sides of the Twin Ridge site?
I can speak to the construction. The construction would occur within the industrial section of the roadway. It
Okay.
comes out to 144. So access, construction vehicles, delivery of materials would come down to the traffic signal on 144 and in on Rising Ridge Road at that location. They're not,
Okay.
they won't be going through residential neighborhoods.
And that's for both parcels,
Yes,
7A and 18A.
correct.
And then Mr. O'Malley's comment, this Twin Ridge site doesn't look too bad. They doubled landscaping to separate from neighborhood and are not using cheap looking cinder block. Any questions from any other commission members? All right, seeing none, what I'd like first to do is the motion on the file AP -20-0080. That's the amended plat approval.
Ron, can you just bring that plan up real quick? So this is the consolidation of lot 19 and 18 of the Twin Ridge Professional Park. Again, this has already been presented to you as a concept plan. This is the final amended plat approval.
Do I hear a motion for that? Okay, I will move that we follow the staff recommendation for approval of the amended plat, creating Lot A in the Twin Ridge Professional Park, Section 2. Is there a
18.
second?
18A.
18A, is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand and hold it there. Some of the people can't see if you are voting or not. So all those in favor of approving the amended plat approval for AP 20-0080. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Ron, can you stop sharing your screen? Because then it'll bring it back to,
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor. All those opposed? We have 1. The motion carries. Okay. Now the next approval will be for file number S-20-0033, which is what, Ron, you have shared with us. Are there any other comments? This one also, the staff recommends approval, but they also have the clarification of the ownership and the maintenance. Let me check to make sure before we go. All righty. There's one question. Can the town council block commercial construction vehicles from going through the neighborhood, possible fines or police ticketing? It's inevitable that if one truck is blocking the road at Rising Ridge, trucks will find a way around. I don't know that the town council can do that. That's a question for them.
No, I know that, I'm sorry, Ron, go ahead.
What I will point out is that when Brittany Manor was being constructed, we worked with the town so that all of the construction traffic went through the industrial area as opposed to next to the townhouses. So I'm not sure you even saw one construction vehicle past the townhouses. They all went down to Aaron Lane and around for all their construction work. Even today, that still occurs.
And I'm sure that, like you said, the town would work with that, work with them on that. So that to make sure that that wouldn't happen. They would try to block it from the residential. Okay, anything else? Anyone else have any questions? Yeah, Leslie?
And the cat vote for Leslie?
Yeah, it's just my cat. My cat's sitting with me. He likes the big map, though. He's sitting on it.
Yeah, he likes
Enjoying
that. Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, I'll make the motion then that we recommend approval of a site plan for lot 18A of the Twin Ridge Residential Park, Section 2, subject to the following action items. The clarification of ownership and maintenance of the Twin Ridge Professional Park, Section 2, Stormwater Management Pond number 4. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the concept plan for lot 18A of Twin Ridge Professional Park with the clarification of the ownership and maintenance of the Section 2 Stormwater Management Pond 4. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? We have 1. So the motion carries 4-1. All righty. So
The
Next.
next item, the new business, this is a public hearing related to this resolution 2022-1, setting the priority areas.
for
Is
the
that correct,
water,
Tom? So what other formalities do we have to accommodate for that public hearing section?
This is fine. Basically, under our code, we do this every 2 years. This starts kind of starts the process by which the town every 2 years allocates its water, ultimately among the various allocation categories. So this will start the ball rolling, and I think it includes somewhere around April with the town council. So under our code, the planning commission at its regular meeting in January will hold a public hearing and then approve a map with priority areas, which is one of the allocation categories. And from there, the process takes place. So.
okay, so we have 2 pictures, but I'm assuming one is a blow up of the first one.
Yes.
So that in red is what we are determining, what the town is determining as the priority area. Does anyone have any questions with this?
Just one question, Madam Chair. This does not set the, I want to say, the allocation amounts. This just determines where we would prefer it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's kind of hard since we don't know what would be there.
Yeah,
There's different there's different numbers for different types of,
yeah, uses.
yes, thank you.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, isn't there usually kind of following along there with Carl? And maybe it's just the next step, because I thought there was usually like a certain percentage going to this priority and then another percentage going to a different priority or something like that.
It's your next step.
Is that the next
That's
step?
the
Okay.
next step,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thanks.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve that, please?
Well, you have to take public comment if there
Oh,
are.
that's right, I'm sorry.
Public hearing.
So I'm just looking at this map and I don't see all of the Beck property to the west being encompassed. Are we voting on the shape of this file? I guess I'm just curious, like, why is that one?
This is what we
portion-
were given. I mean,
Okay. I mean, I guess that we can always do an amendment if necessary. But I just see that a portion of the Beck property is not encompassed in here, but that's just a question.
All right, so this is 2 years. And aren't they looking at developing the east side parcel first?
No, it would be the west
No.
side parcel that's first.
Oh, okay.
So again, so
Well,
I mean, ultimately, this would limit the priority area to the designated growth area that's highlighted in red. So again, in 2 years, we still might be working on the plan in 2 years. So maybe it's a moot point.
listen, Center Street, 7 years ago, somebody asked me when it was going through. So I don't think we have to worry about that.
There are
I
other
apologize,
allocation
Madam Chair.
categories. There
Right.
are other allocation categories that could apply as well. The priority areas is just one of several allocation categories. So
John, could you share this allocation? Someone wants to see it. Can
Yeah.
you
I
share
will
the
try to
screen,
do that.
please, so they can see it?
Share screen. You see that?
Yeah, if you could zoom in on it a little bit so they can kind of see. Hi, Barney.
Hello.
There you go. Now move it to center. There you go. I hope that's better for that person. I can, up in this section is the cold storage, and then it comes down into Prospect Mill, which is the bank. Main Street is here. You have the rail yard, Center Street corridor, and when you get Center Street, then down is the Beck property, part of the Beck property. Do we have any other comments? Public comments?
Nobody's raising their hand currently.
All right, seeing no comments, we can continue, correct, Tom, if there are no comments? Okay. Someone like to make a motion that we approve the designated areas? It's a resolution, so, but we have to,
Give a recommendation.
yes, we vote on the recommendation for the priority areas for the calendar year 2022 through 2023.
Madam Chair, I would so move.
Okay. Is there a second?
Martina, give it to-
Martina? All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution for the town priority areas for the purpose of the allocation of the water. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All righty. Now, if you'll notice, we had 2 rezoning requests, but because of They've been postponed because we had to,
Yeah,
John, can you
The
explain?
property, the adjoining property owners weren't notified, nor were the properties zoned or advertised or posted in a proper fashion. So we propose to postpone them until next meeting so I can make sure that all the adjoining property owners know and the property is signed accurately.
I will also comment, and I don't know if all of you know this or not, but after the first of the year, COVID hit town hall and the staff, and it's been very, very hard to get everything because, one group would get it and then they'd be over it and then the next group. So it's been constant, kind of like they've been in this COVID circle. So I think everybody is back to normal now.
I think so.
We hope so. So can I switch these two? I'd like to do, we need to revise the schedule for the Green Tree property and then start on the Beck property. And I think that in your packet of information was
Madam
some.
Chair, may I screen share with that schedule for you?
Sure, but yeah. I'm trying to find my calendars. We had, I know where it is. I asked for at least 3 months worth of calendars to be put into your packet of information, so we could at least, I can't just look on a phone or, my Google Calendar and see where we are.
Madam Chair, I need to step away real quick. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Did you share, John? Okay. So we have had to switch the charrette for the Planning Commission charrette to the 14th at 7, from 7 to 9. And that's on a Monday. I'm sorry, it's Valentine's Day. Bring your Valentine with you and then go to Larienzo's for dinner. Because we had the Planning Commission public hearing set for February the 28th at 7 before the Planning Commission meeting, but that requires a 30-day notice. So we're still okay. No, we're not okay. So we have to adjust. Correct, Tom? We have to adjust the 28th, the public hearing. So that's going to have to go into March.
Well, have they, did the town staff do the notice yet for the 30-day for the public hearing?
I have to wait till John comes back. I think we were thinking hopefully that, and with the COVID, I don't know that he got that out. So we are going to have to change that. I apologize. So that's going to move everything back a little bit. But we're going to start with the 14th, which is the charrette which is the one that the Planning Commission and the developer will be here, and it's for the public, and it will be here, hopefully in the council chambers. Does anybody have any suggestions for the March, for the public hearing, the Planning Commission public hearing?
Can it just be before the March Planning Commission meeting, Roxanne, or is that too far out?
Well, I mean,
Or would you like it sooner?
I would like it sooner.
It has to be 30 days, correct?
Yes.
Well, Monday, March 14th is open on that calendar.
Yes, it is. So I would put it there. Okay, John.
I'm back.
So the The letters and things have not gone out for the February 28th meeting, correct?
They have not.
Okay, so we need to change that because that's
I know.
not 30 days.
I know.
All right, so we're thinking Monday, March the 14th.
Okay, March 14th.
Yes, at 7 o'clock.
Okay, 7 PM.
I'll be
And I wish
away, just so you know.
Once again?
I said I'll be away.
Okay.
That's okay. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Okay, and then I would like the workshop, which it's kind of after when we have the workshop. Kind of wish we could. We would have our workshop in March on Thursday, the 3rd, but that doesn't give us enough time.
But couldn't we still have the
You have time
workshop?
for what?
Couldn't we still have the workshop with?
Yes, we're
planning
still
and
gonna have the
town council
workshop, but
prior?
it would have been nice to have the workshop. It would have been nice to have the combined workshop then. So we're just gonna have to do it another day after the public hearing. So my suggestion is either Tuesday, the 22nd or Thursday, the 24th.
What are you talking about?
With
talking
the
about the-
workshop with the planning commission and the town council. for
Oh,
Greenfield.
okay.
Has to
Okay.
be we require both planning commission.
Right,
and
right.
town
You just
council.
weren't saying what you were talking about, so
Right, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
So let's go for the 22nd. Is that good for everybody?
Fine
all right.
with me.
We're putting it there,
Yep.
combined workshop.
March 22, right?
Correct.
Correct. And then where do we go next?
Again, the April 4th could still be the hearing for the joint planning commission, town council, public hearing. Because we can still advertise 30 days in advance.
Well, that's not the joint public hearing because we've already had our public hearing.
Well, this is the joint planning commission, town council public hearing.
You're
All right.
required 2 public hearings. as
That's
part of
right,
the
you're
process.
right.
So that could still occur on April 4th.
Yes, we will. And I can't, let's say 7 o'clock. but Bring that up
Yep.
with the
I'll
next
have to
week.
bring that up at March to
Yes.
the,
All right,
So the workshop is March 24th?
22nd,
no, 22nd.
7
We're
PM.
trying to avoid the 24th.
Okay.
All righty. And then there would be the vote on the 25th. At our council meeting,
The joint meeting is April 4th?
April 4th. That's the joint public hearing
Public
So the
hearing.
before
meet,
the
the
town
vote-
council.
town council could vote on the 4th then as part of their agenda.
Right,
Well,
April 4th.
they'd have to introduce it then it would have to be the
yeah,
following
they'd have
month.
to introduce it and then we would discuss it and then it would go back to them.
I don't think they can introduce and vote on the same,
No, we
Same
can't
night.
do that.
No.
right? That's 30 days. It has to be a month after.
Yeah,
So the town council wouldn't vote on that until May the 2nd, I think,
Yeah. Earliest is May,
May the 2nd.
okay.
which we ran out of time before.
May I ask, Tom, is there something that has to be introduced under this? As there, normally you would have an council introducing, but
The delay in time has to do with ordinances. Unless it's an emergency measure, an ordinance cannot be passed in the same meeting that it is introduced, resolutions and other things, but that's not to say the town council wouldn't want 30 days. That'd be up to them.
So it would be introduced at their April meeting and voted on in May.
And like Tom's saying, they might take more than 30 days. Not that they have to vote on it in May, but
That's correct.
tentatively, that's tentatively when we would put it in.
Yeah, that's the first we would probably want to vote on it, mainly
Right.
due to what it is and what it deals with.
But
So-
the nice thing is that it's probably been vetted through all these other previous meetings, that it should be sort of already hashed out, all the issues, you would hope.
So is it a problem if April 4 to May 2 is not 30 days? Isn't that like 20, like, does that
No.
have to be 30? Like,
I don't
that's
know.
just the nature of, there's 30 days in April, and then it's like, ends up being like 29 days or something. Is that a problem?
Well, again, this is not an ordinance, so
Oh,
you
okay.
have to wait any days.
Gotcha. Okay. Right. Gotcha. Understood. I thought there was a 30-day thing. I missed that.
The town code prescribed 30 days for the charrette and the planning commission public hearing for notices.
For notice,
Right.
that's correct.
Okay. Is everybody okay on that one? All right, so now we need to go to the Beck property. They've requested to set up, to start the process, the charrette process. So the first thing, of course, would be the public charrette.
And Ron, did you communicate with Victor at all on this timeline? If I'm sure you probably are representing them here tonight.
Yes, the timeline. Yes, if I may, I don't know if this will show up here. But we were planning to start the charrette on March 10th. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
So I would prefer if we did that on the 14th, either before or after the Green Tree meeting. Instead of trying to do multiple meetings on multiple different weeks, why aren't we combining both of them onto the March 14th? It's 4 days difference. I don't think it's that big a deal. That would be my suggestion. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are. I'm trying to be considerate of your time as well, because
Right.
you
It's a
guys
lot- it's
take
a
a
lot
lot
of
of time
meetings.
and energy.
A lot of
and
meetings.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gonna, I would prefer to do that as well. The,
How long are you allowing for the public hearing on the
For the Green
14th?
Tree.
Right.
So that's February 14th. So we're talking March 14th. I think we'll get a good feeling on the February 14th possibly to see, is the 2 hours too much? Again, I understand it's Valentine's on the 14th. Not that a lot of people don't go out on Valentine's because it's
Well,
crazy.
this is just, the 14th for Green Trees is the planning and zoning public hearing, correct? So I mean, I wouldn't,
Yeah, that's
Isn't
a
Isn't
half
it
an
the
hour
charrette?
meeting.
Isn't
That's a
it
half
the
an hour.
charrette?
No,
no,
that's the public
no,
hearing.
no.
Wait, on the
charrette-
14th?
February
February
14th is the charrette. We're
Right,
talking
right.
about March 14th.
Then maybe you should say the month before the day, since they're the same day. So that people know what you're talking about.
What I'm saying is maybe we can have the planning commission charrette for the Beck property, MXD, on March 14th, after possibly the half an hour public hearing, right? So we can
Right.
have the public
Good
hearing
idea.
for the
Good
Green
idea.
Tree right before that meeting.
Okay, so the public hearing will go from 7 to 7:30,
Okay,
and then the
14th.
charrette will start right after. I'll say 7:30.
7 to 7:30. And then we'll go to that.
So then we need
30 days after that.
30 days. So that would leave us at April the 14th, which is a Thursday.
You don't need 30 days, you just need to make sure you have 30 days of advertising for it. So if you sent out one notice that said, our charrette 30-day, the charrette will be on the 14th, and in the same notice, state when your public hearing will be, you will have met the requirement
30 days.
for 30 days. There doesn't have to be 30 days in between.
Right, because we can advertise before the 30-day mark currently.
I have a
So
question.
again, I think having that at the beginning of the planning commission meeting is the best.
Okay.
That's currently
yes,
how
Les-
we have it.
Okay, Leslie.
So the Beck MXD charrette on March 14th, and I'm not going to be here. So will I be able to have access to that afterwards before?
Yes, we'll make
Our-
sure that you have access to that,
Okay.
even if I have to record it with my phone. But
Yeah,
we'll make
have
sure
it-
you have access.
We'll have it on Facebook that you can review beforehand.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so. So can we try to do, so then the next thing is the public hearing. Could we try to do that on the 28th at our council meeting, starting at 7 o'clock with that?
Yes, that would be good use of time. That would be a good idea.
Hey, Ron, if there was massive changes at the charrette, would you be able to represent it at the hearing?
The purpose, I believe, of the code, Carl, is that we present it at the charrette. You receive formal comment in the public hearing. And
Okay.
then you go to the workshop for whatever changes. You meet with planning commission members, town council members, staff to determine what changes may need to take place. And then that plan is represented at the final public hearing.
All right.
That's the joint public hearing.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to try and, shorten the time when it needed to be longer. If you needed to make changes, but
Oh my
okay,
God, this is long enough.
okay,
I'd like it to, not go all in a month, but,
yeah.
okay, so you want to try to do the joint planning, the joint workshop on the 7th of April?
Well, so the public hearing is the 28th then, right?
Correct.
Okay,
That's the planning commission
Yeah.
public hearing, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So then we have the planning for Green Tree, we have the planning and the joint plant hearing for Green Tree on the 4th, Monday, April the 4th. Then we will follow on the 7th with the combined workshop for the Beck property.
I have a question, and this is really to Carl possibly and Tom. So that workshop with planning commission members and town council members, could we not do that before the April 4th town council meeting possibly? How long do you think a meeting like that is gonna take?
What, the combined workshop? I think you're looking at least, I think, an hour,
yeah.
at least.
Possibly. That might be too much.
I don't, yeah, this is something we
Okay.
don't want to hurry either.
Right. Okay. Just curious.
And
Okay.
right now, we only have half the attendees schedules per se.
So,
Like
Correct.
if it's a joint.
yeah.
I
we've
know,
got-
that
I
was
mean,
gonna be
this-
my question. Do we know
Exactly.
if town
This is
council
all
can show up?
pending. Well, this is all pending the town council, which I I'll be at the meeting to beg
Yeah.
and plead, because this is what the council wanted, so
Yeah.
we hope that they're there.
Yeah.
We ask them to be there.
Hey, Tom, and remind me, sorry, Chairwoman, sorry, Roxanne. Most of the council does not have to be at the combined workshop. We would like it, right? But are they required to be a quorum or not, right?
They're not required to be there now.
Okay. So if a couple can't make it, that's fine. But as long as it's offered, we're aware of it, we can move on from there.
Yeah, but then don't come to that public hearing and ask for a bunch of changes when you haven't been at the workshop.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm sorry. No,
totally
I'm just
Roxanne.
saying in general. I'm just telling you. That's why
I
we're
know.
doing all this. And this is a lot of extra work because we're also in the master plan process.
Yeah, there were some people on the town council who really wanted to be involved in this, so hopefully they'll be
That's
able to
right.
show up.
I will, but I'll be there.
Okay, so then on the 2nd, Monday the 2nd, will be the joint planning. We'll have 2 public hearings on May the 2nd then. No, I don't have May, so I can't. Would there be 2 public hearings on May?
No, you had the Green Tree public hearing was April 4th.
Okay, all right,
And then on
so,
the 2nd, it would be considered by the town council for approval.
right,
Well,
okay,
yeah.
so May 2nd will be the joint PC Town Council public hearing. And I'm gonna put that at 7 o'clock.
So you're giving half an hour for that?
Yeah, by that time, we should be we've vetted that thing enough, I think.
Well, I know you're gonna definitely have to give allowance for it to be longer, even if you schedule it at 7.
Remember that, I think, is May 2nd the first Monday in May?
Yes,
Okay, it's just
Yes.
council meeting too, so we gotta
Right,
clear with
exactly.
Jason. Which he should not have a problem, but we should clear it with him.
well, we can say 7 to 8
Yeah,
if needed.
yeah,
Is that better?
yeah, that's fine, yeah. Just, I'm sure he won't have a problem, but just, yeah, as again, if it's a joint, that's a joint hearing, so we should be there for that.
Right,
that-
so they would introduce it then, and then they would vote on approval on June.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? I want to first, before we go through all this, I want to thank everybody for being so amenable to all this. And this is a lot of work, I know, and a lot of extra time. But I think in the long run, it's going to be worth it to get the public involved and to get us to make sure that we have these things in the right order that we need them. And we will also continue our master plan workshops as much as possible, which is, I think, which is other business. Carl, before you do your report, we have a work session scheduled for February the 10th.
John is asking if we can postpone that due to just recovering from COVID and trying not to have multiple night meetings in the same week. Since I have a
I'm okay with that. Is everybody else okay with that?
When you
I don't
say
want-
John, I assume you mean yourself. I'm like,
Yeah.
who's John?
The
other than
third
John's
person.
meeting, right? Don't do that. Don't do that third party thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's fine, John. Just
Yes,
say
That's
that's
fine.
I would recommend we delay that meeting.
okay.
So I did want to ask Carl real quick. Carl, are you going to bring this schedule in front of the town council for their blessing as well at some point? Or do you want me to reach out to?
No, I'll bring it forward since it's the 7th, since it's less than a week. Yeah, sorry.
And I'll be there too, Carl. as
Yeah,
well.
that's fine. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at February and March is one of those weird months where everything, the same dates are on the same days.
Yes, yes.
So,
Okay,
no, Monday the
so,
7th, I should be there, and I'll try and make a note with all this. I'll check with you, John, to make sure I have the dates and days right, or
Yeah.
Roxanne. And
The March 14th is really the first one where they're gonna, well, no. The first one they're really
No,
gonna have to be
first
at
one-
is March the 22nd.
Oh,
correct.
yeah.
Okay, so can we go with your report, Carl?
I was just gonna say, if anyone has any questions, I'll be more than happy to ask, but I have nothing to add to what was submitted. If that's okay with you, Roxanne, to hurry this along a little bit, Madam Chair.
That's fine. Does anyone have any questions from that?
I mean, I think.
No, thank you
Okay.
for your thorough report.
Yes,
Well,
that
the
was
only thing I want
nice.
to point out to you is that we're beginning to talk about development fees, AKA the impact fees.
Okay,
We're going to raise them we're proposing to raise them about $200 across the board, just because they have not been raised for 15 years, I believe. Yeah.
okay,
So we decided it was a time, and we're adding a public safety impact fee to cover the police department and the officers that any future development will require. That will be approximately $1,700. And I believe the
okay, so
$200,
the total fees would be,
whatever it is now, raise it by $200 a fee. I don't have
Okay.
that in front of me right now, Roxanne, sorry.
okay, so we're raising it basically a total of $1,900.
Yeah, how many ever impact fees we have total, we're raising it across the board as $200
Okay,
per fee. That's
all right. And we have the zoning administrator report from November, December, and the annual report. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Deborah.
Any other business? Or future items? I have one question, I guess, because I know we did this a long time ago. What is the, what about the eye center? What's happening there? I mean, is it happening, not happening? I mean, I know we're in the middle of winter, so we can't do anything, but
So I have talked to Dr. Boaz. And yes, he's actually filing for a grading permit to work on demolishing the building. He's first going through some agencies that will actually go through and salvage anything that's salvageable for a
Oh,
tax
okay.
credit or whatever. So I think he's going through that process. So he is working towards that. The site plan should be coming towards us, hopefully in the February Planning Commission meeting for approval. There've been some delays from their engineer. So we're working through that through stormwater management through the county, trying to address all those comments. But he is working on getting an early grading permit and possibly a foundation permit. So hopefully you can get the site leveled, cleared, recycled, and then start with his approval, hopefully March, April by the latest, final approval in April, maybe.
okay, that would be nice.
That would be the great thing to get there.
Leslie?
I wanted to know if the two proposed ordinances for CC and neighborhood professional have been found.
You beat me to it, Leslie. I was going to ask to mention again that I believe they are proposed to be on the upcoming council agenda for introduction.
Right, and do you have them?
That you would have to ask our
No.
town attorney. I
No,
believe
those-
he has them. We have not received the packets yet for the
Hold
upcoming
on,
meeting.
let Tom speak.
Packet materials are due on Thursday, I believe, by me, my stuff.
Uh-huh.
They will have it.
Okay, so you found it?
No,
Got
I have
Okay.
stuff. I know I have it.
Okay, so I don't know if you all remember, like the neighborhood professional, we went through at a workshop and it was, I don't know, September maybe.
Yeah,
And so we didn't create a document. We just made notes. So I don't know if someone, like if someone gave that to Tom. I remember that very well. I know Carl was very actively involved.
Yeah,
So,
Did not-
and then the CC, I know it's been written up. And it's somewhat final. Anyway, all right. So just curious, I'll see what I can find.
Yeah, if I have any problems, I'll let you know. The one question I did have is, even though you all approve these ordinances and they're in effect your recommendation already to the town council, because zoning amendments, typically they get introduced and then referred to you. Do you want them back for further review? The code probably doesn't require it since you've already recommended them, but do you want them to come back to you?
I have a question. So the MP, we really never really defined anything that I remember specifically on trying to enhance the MP zone. If I remember I didn't take great notes, I apologize.
We made some changes.
They were
Upper
small. They
thing,
weren't
thing.
really large. But we decided that we were pretty close on. There were just minute changes, if I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we were talking about the plastic surgery place that was looking to expand their parking. It was the big issue.
But you
really
decided you were
allowing-
gonna do something else. You were gonna have them try to come in and,
Well, submit an amended site plan. is
yeah,
What I was
that's
saying.
what you-
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, since we kind of started this process, I'm fine with it not coming back to us.
Me too.
Is that okay with everybody else? Everybody else in agreement?
Everybody's shaking their head.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I have one other comment.
Yes. Mhm.
And so I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Roxanne, but regarding the plot, I don't know why Scott's still like staring right at Scott here. So the plots that we dealt with this evening
Yes.
at the October meeting, and I know this is sort of like par for the course, but when, before we voted whether to merge those two lots,
This is 7A. Is that the one you're talking about? 7A?
7A and 18, whatever, the
Yeah.
two that we merged or combined.
Yeah, they weren't on the
18 and
same
19.
meeting, but
Well,
yeah,
there-
7A.
There were
Go ahead.
two that we voted at the same meeting, which was in October, or maybe it was September. It's the lots we talked about tonight. You don't remember? Do you
Well, I
remember?
mean,
I
Roxanne?
remember, we voted, and then he needed to come back with the amended plat.
Okay, my point is that because people were there and they wanted to be heard, and it was the same night that we heard the Windy Ridge folks.
The Wriggler, yes.
Yeah, in fact, I just
Okay.
watched it before our meeting, part of it. So when people want to talk about the substance or the context of what's going to happen if they're merged, and when the planning commission chair says, don't worry because that's not what we're deciding right now, that's actually not completely true. And I did get Ron to say that evening, which is, well, what happens if we don't vote to merge them or combine them? And he says, well, then we won't be able to do the development or the project. So I think that you need to be careful with, it's like on the one hand, yes, this is what we're voting on, but yet the reality is that if we vote, then this is going to be the impact of that vote. Now it's different than the annexation, because when we voted on the regular annexation, we certainly weren't saying we're going to approve 33 properties. But in this instance, everyone who voted on that in favor of it, which I didn't, as you know, knew that the ultimate vote was going to be that this storage facility was going to be proposed and that's what was going to be on the property. So I just think for future reference, we need to be careful in what we're telling people. Just like sometimes people are saying, oh, that's going to go to the council when it's not going to go to the council. So people think, oh, okay, well, now I can go to the council and I can complain there. But it's like, no, it's not. It's only going to be voted on at the planning commission. So I think we just need to be very clear about what we're telling people and what it actually means ultimately.
Okay, I apologize. That's not how I meant that it possibly wouldn't come to fruition, but I understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to apologize. Just for future reference, I think
No,
we
thank
all
you.
need to be clear with what we're telling people. That's all.
Well,
So,
can I speak to that real quick? So on 7A, for example, so for the cube storage. So if we didn't combine the two lots, then you would have two main entrances off of two different roads for potentially the same type of project, right? So now you're going to have cars coming on both roads to two different entrances. If that owner of that property, CubeSmart, says, well, fine, well, we'll build two entrances off of two different roads, they easily could do that without combining those two lots. They're still industrial lots. I don't see where.
Not talking about the substance. I'm talking about being clear with people
Yeah,
about what we're voting on and what the ultimate impact will be. I'm not talking
Okay.
about, and you can say that. You can say, yes, if we vote and we merge them together, this is probably what's going to happen. And if we don't, then what
Something
John,
else will
what you
happen.
just said is what's going to happen.
It
I
could
just think
happen.
that people, because later they're like, well, we didn't know that's what you were doing or what you meant. And
Right.
I can understand why they didn't understand it because it wasn't clear. So that's all I'd like to say.
okay. Thank you. All righty. So the only other thing, anybody else have any future business, any questions before we our next planning commission meeting will be February the 28th at 7 o'clock.
Hey, Roxanne, before we adjourn, just one thing. I sent John a letter about the CubeSmart that was forwarded to Mayor Hushhour and I, but it came in after the vote in November. It came at
Yeah,
in
we had,
December.
I commented about that. It was in our packet.
Oh, no, from Andrew Heck.
No,
Okay,
not
that's
have
the one I forwarded. Yeah, I had the lot one. Yeah, he sent it to Holly, to the mayor and I. It was after, so I just sent it to John, saying please include it in the packet for.
But I just
CubeSmart.
received that during this meeting, I think.
Yeah, and
So-
it was the same question that he brought up on the chat. So
okay.
Okay, so it was addressed then.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping, and I know that some people are still uncomfortable, but I'm hoping at the end of February that we will be able to be here live. It is very hard to do a Zoom meeting to have comments. I appreciate the people's patience, but I would look to see a live meeting in February. All right,
And I don't
anything
know,
else?
who makes that final call for a live meeting? Would that be ultimately Roxanne or town council or?
Well, I guess people will have to call me and say, these things that we're doing are gonna have to be public, are gonna have to be live in person.
Right.
I don't know that we can do a public charrette over Zoom.
No,
It's impossible.
I don't think there'll be any reason for us to do this virtually at the end of February. I think we're on the wind down here, and I think it'll be fine. I mean,
But I do
ultimately,
understand if people have a concern.
well, there's always going to be a concern. There's going to be concerns next October, but at some point, we're just going to have to bring it back into the town hall.
And even the planning commission charrette, not all the planning commission members have to be there. We're not making any votes.
That's
right?
correct. That's
So
correct.
if you're uncomfortable, you don't have to attend.
I'll be
Or
there.
you can come with a mask. You can wear a mask. There's no There's nothing that says that you can't wear a mask and come.
And they will be Facebook or recorded, correct, John?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, we'll make an effort either through CMC or I'll do it in-house through our in-house cameras.
It will be available to the public or anyone that can't make it.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that it's very important that we have that recorded so people that could not make it can, because they still have time to comment.
Yep.
So I want to be able for them to have that ability.
I will
All right.
reach out to CMC to see if I can get them to, make a time slot on the 14th and all these other dates for all these different public hearing and public comments.
Yeah, they've got
and
other, yeah, I hope they can, but I know that they have other
They have other town
municipalities that
councils.
they have,
and-
yep.
That's right. So I don't know if they can accommodate us, but possibly.
All righty. So seeing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Martina
Martina got it.
I'll
made the
second it.
motion and it's been seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
And thank you very much. We'll see you on the 14th.
All right,
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
thanks.
Bring
Have a
your
good week.
date.
Will there be dinner?
No.
And